Hey guys, it's Penguin here, and welcome back to another gold making video. In celebration of 9.2 officially being released 1 month ago, I've decided to just break down exactly how much gold I have made and spent and profited in 9.2. So previously I have made a video similar to this about a few months back, but a lot of people really enjoy these kind of full-on breakdown videos, so I've decided to do another one specifically for the patch. Now, as you guys probably have just heard, throughout this video you may hear those sale sounds. Sometimes in my previous videos I try to cut them out, but this video is going to be a lot more raw and just looking through the ledger, so I apologize. Do not go and check your WoW client. It's probably the sales on my screen. I apologize. But without further ado, we're going to get right into the breakdown, and I hope you enjoy. So before we get into the actual gold, I need to give you some server specs. So if you guys are new here, I am a part of the NA region. I am non-EU, and the date of recording is the 23rd. So technically, this is the 1 month and a day, because the actual patch released the 22nd of February for us. Now, specifically for my server, I am on a server that's about 37,000 people, according to Raider.io. Personally, I call this a medium pop. However, if you look specifically on Raider.io, they count it as a low pop. But in terms of Area 52, which is the highest populated realm in the NA region, is currently sitting at about 219,000, while my little low mid pop is sitting at about 37,000 people. So you can choose how you want to count my server, but that is the total population. You can compare that online on Raider.io to your own server. Also, in terms of amount played per day, it does of course vary since I am a college student and I have more classes on days than others. However, on average, I play for about 3 to 4 hours per day. So in a week, one day I might play 6 hours, while one day I only played 1 hour, but in average, I play about 3 hours, I would say, every single day. So with that all explained, we can get into the actual sales. So right now it's about 3 p.m., like I said, on Wednesday the 23rd, and I have officially looted everything that has been in my mailbox. Now if we want to go into the auctions, as you can see, we still have some incoming sales, which will slowly kind of be added to our count whenever we loot the mailbox later, but this is kind of what it's looking like so far. So if we open up the ledger to just give you the quick overview, you can see it right here. Exactly 30 days ago, I was sitting at a total gold of 30.4 million gold, and today I currently stand at about 40.3 million gold. So the big answer is so far I have made 10 million gold profit, almost 11 million gold profit, we can round up, in these last month. So ever since 9.2 has released, I've made about 11 million gold. So if that was the only question or the only answer you wanted, there you go. However, we're going to get into the breakdown and kind of actually show you what I'm selling. And if we go through everything selected for the past 30 days, my total revenue is actually 25.5 million gold. So out of that 11 million profit, I have actually sold 25.5 million gold worth of items. So the first kind of lesson of this video that I want to talk about is see how much profit margin I am truly seeing. What I mean by this is in order to make 11 million gold, I had to spend 14 million. So on my server personally, I'm seeing about a 50% margin on profit, which is very high for a lot of people, but I'm also not getting a drastic amount of sales like I would see on a full pop. But either way, as you can see, my profit margins is only about 50%, and I've had to spend 14 million gold just to make 10 million back. So if you are somebody who only has 200,000 gold and you're seeing mailboxes of 40,000, 50,000, and you're not in the millions yet, you should not be discouraged because, yet again, you need a ton of gold to invest with to actually see a ton of gold in profit. Just to show you, as you can see, we spent 14.4 million gold worth of materials in the last 30 days. And kind of an interesting part is if we remove auctions, I've actually spent 2 million gold strictly on just vendor items. So hopefully this gives you a little bit more of an understanding of what exactly it takes to make a ton of gold. And of course, there are a ton more people who have a ton more gold than me, but this is just my personal breakdown. But if we want to go back to the profit, there we go. Now we can start breaking this down and see how this 25 million gold worth came to be. And so the most obvious one, as a legendary crafter myself, if we search legendaries, without a surprise, 19.5 million of the gold came from these legendaries. So a lot of these are the new rank 7s, however, we didn't have these at the start, so this is a mix of rank 6s, rank 4s, and mostly rank 7s, and in the past month, I've sold 353 of them. So that's about, 11 legendaries per day that I have been selling on this medium pop server. As you can see, the price ranges from 3.8k, which is probably like a rank 2 or rank 3 that sold that I just had from leveling, all the way to the start of rank 7s, which were selling in right here. This cape sold for almost 300k about 2 weeks ago whenever we actually unlocked rank 7s for the first time. But from this moment right here, from the rank 7 release, and if we just go all the way up, as you can see, it goes slowly, we start losing those 100,000s, and now we're in like the 50s to 60s. So margins have definitely crashed on my server, but right now, currently rank 7s are selling anywhere between 50 to 80,000 gold a piece. Now, with that out of the way, because I know a ton of people do not do legendaries or cannot afford it, we still have 6 million gold worth of sales that has to come from somewhere. And of course, one of the items that a lot of people will not be surprised that I'm talking about are missives. So I'm going to highlight all of inscription, but most of all, not all of it, is missives and tomes. And so also we have a little bit of some glyphs in there as well. But most of everything is sold in inscription is missives and tomes, and of that 6 million remaining gold, we have sold 1 million worth of missives. Now, missives are one of my favorite things to sell. I love this item. Yes, it takes a long time to craft, but you can AFK it, and it sells very, very well. If we want to highlight just missives on its own, we have sold 1,800 of them in the past 30 days for 870,000 gold. And as you can see, things are selling, and most of the time they are missives. So I've said this in a numerous amount of videos, but if you're somebody who wants to get into the legendary market without actually selling legendaries, get into missives, because every time a legendary sells, most likely 2 missives are going to follow it. As you can see, Verse and Mastery sold. If we scroll up, Critical Strike and Haste sold. Verse and Mastery yet again. This one was a lone one. Actually, no, it's not. Crit and Mastery, Haste, Mastery, Crit, so on and so forth. Missives sell in 2, and normally every time somebody sells Legendary, missives are going to come with it. Moving on, another great profession for me is enchanting. Now, of course, enchanting is nothing super special because the prices of them are pretty low compared to legendaries or, other items. But in the past 30 days, I've sold almost 1,100 enchants for about 420,000 gold, which honestly is super awesome. And the great thing with my server is that profit margins are very high. As you can see on most, not all, this one is a little bit low, but on average up here, I'm making almost like 35 to even 100 to 200 gold profit per missive. It is actually insane on my server. So the margins are very high. Yes, only sold about 400,000 worth, but in comparison to other profit margins, these are one of the better items in my actual server. Moving on, which we have cooking, which has been a little bit of a slacker on my part for this, but I've sold about 7,000 pieces of food for about 150,000 total. So yes, I could do better. As you can see, there's a few days, a few gaps where I haven't really kind of restocked, or it just hasn't been super profitable, especially down here. We have gaps of 4 days of not selling anything, and most of the time, that's just because I'm too lazy to restock. However, like I said, kind of with the enchants, the prices are pretty low, but the margins are pretty high. So yes, only 150k. However, a lot of that is pure profit. Moving on, more recently, I have started to sell bags again. Previously in these types of videos, I've kind of ignored bags because they've been pretty unprofitable or just not really worth it on my server. But for 9.2, I have started to sell them again, and surprisingly, they do pretty well. Yet again, there are a few days, like 5 days right here, that I decided not to sell, and yet again, another 4 days, and even right here, this is a 9-day gap. However, for this week, or for this month, I've sold about 300 items, and that's 60k profit. And so, like I said, right now I'm making almost 70 gold per bag. On average, probably about 50 gold to probably 30 to 50 gold profit. So, pretty nice in the bag department. I only sell the shrouded cloth. I do not sell the lightless silk, since a lot of the lightless silk is strictly going to my legendaries. Moving away from tailoring, we have jewel crafting, which I love myself. Clusters. Clusters are amazing. I highly recommend selling them if you have gems laying around. But yet again, they sell for pretty cheap, so not a huge moneymaker, but I've sold about 1,000 of them for a solid 23,000 gold. One of those items that you can just leave your computer running for like 20 minutes when you go eat dinner one night, craft a ton of clusters, post them every single day, and slowly you will get sales. So, gotta be a little bit careful in the deposit cost department. However, I post a little bit at a time, and then of course, whenever they run out, restock them, and they do really well. So, only about, 15 to 20 gold per, but a great seller if you are looking for a little bit more of diversity in your current auction house stock. The next thing we have is blacksmithing. Now, first of all, this is all non-crafter's merc stuff, but in terms of blacksmithing, this is all actually sharpening stones with a little bit of waystones, and I've sold almost 1,800 of them for 43,000 gold. So, profit margins are insane on these items. As you can see, my crafting cost is insanely low at currently like a gold a piece. So if I craft this for gold, sell it for 20, that's a 95% profit margin. Of course, there's a little bit of an auction house fee, 5%. So maybe I'm making a 90% profit. These items are insane. So yes, I've only sold 43,000 gold worth, but 90% of that 43,000 is pure profit. And they're just so simple to sell. I actually am out of them on the auction house. I need to do a lot better restocking them. I need to go post those 250 or those 240 on the auction house and get those back on. But this is a great item, and I burn through them. So great AFK item, and I highly recommend checking out your shaded stone price. Then, unique to 9.2, we do have the new optional reagents. So, on my server, I currently only have 4 of the 8 optional reagents. I have the enchanting as well as the joy crafting ones. Currently, I do not have an engineer or an alchemist at level 60, so they cannot get into Zereth Mortis and kill the rares. But out of those 4 items, which I haven't actually started selling until 20 days ago, I've sold 61 for about 157,000 gold. Yet again, a pretty nice sum of money. especially for only 2/3 out of the whole actual month. Then another big seller that we have is alchemy. Now alchemy on my server is very, very weird, as in one day potions will have 300 gold profit, and the next day it will be at negative 50 gold profit. So alchemy is a little bit finicky. However, in the past 30 days, I've sold about 4,300 worth of items for 900,000 gold. So out of that 6 million, 1 million is about inscription, missive, stuff like that. And another big chunk of money, another million, is from alchemy. Overall, I sell most of any of the spectrals as well as the potion power flask. And then with the new edition of 9.2, I've been selling the cosmic healing potions as well. Also, the hidden spirits are pretty good too. Then moving on, the biggest chunk that we have now are the crafter's marks. Now, similarly to legendaries, you cannot actually see the different item levels of them. So we will have to break it down by just overall type of armor. But if we want to first highlight the shadow lace, there we go. In the past 30 days, I've sold 65 pieces for about 562,000 gold. Now, most of these are rank 233s. If not, they might be 262s, or if they're super, super cheap selling, then they are novice gear. So right here, this one right here is probably a novice piece. This was probably an accident vendor. That's a little bit unfortunate. But these 1,000s are like the novice gear pieces, but the one selling for 35 is clearly the 262. The 10,000 ones are the 233s, etc., etc. So they started off very, very cheap, or sorry, very, very expensive. And as time has gone on, they've gone a little bit lower. But Shadow Lace has been pretty good. Moving on, we have Shadow Steel, which is the plate version, and I've sold 50 pieces for about 130,000. So not as great, but 50 pieces, pretty solid. Now, one point is that I do also sell the green versions of the novice gear. However, I've been slacking a little bit in that department for restocking, and the gold is just like in the 30,000s. So I am skipping those, but I've made probably about 200k in total from every single green piece of armor. Now, moving on, we have the Shadow Scale, as well as the Shade Bound, which is the leatherworking gear, which I have just recently actually learned. So, about a week ago, I was able to finally get my leatherworking to honored, so I haven't actually sold a ton of pieces. These right here are the novice pieces, but ever since right here, this is probably the 233s. Overall, nothing very exciting. And then the last armor piece for leatherworking is the Shade Bound, which, yet again, I haven't actually unlocked the new versions until about 7 days ago, but all of these previous sales, even though some of them are vendored, I probably just let them go. They were probably old eye levels, but these kind of higher level ones are novice gear as well, made about 40,000 gold. And the other very, very big moneymaker were the rings as well as the necklaces. Now this is strictly novice as well as the two new crafters marks, the 233s and the 262s. And as you can see, in combination, I've sold 115 pieces for about 1.2 million gold. So this has been a huge moneymaker as well. I was able to get this recipe unlocked about 22 days ago, and they have sold pretty well. Of course, we have those big sales of about 65,000, and every once in a while we are in the 50s, and then every once in a while we also get a smaller sale for about 27 or even 15,000 after the Essentia crash. But generally, these do sell very well, and I continue to sell them as long as they are profitable. But guys, that is basically it for this total breakdown. Yet again, if I just deselect everything, In total, I have made 25.5 million gold of revenue. I have spent about 14.5 million gold, and I've profited about 11 million gold ever since 9.2 released. To give you a last check of the auctions, we have been talking for about 27 minutes. Have no idea how long the actual video is at this point after cutting stuff out. But in this 27 minutes of recording, we have another 81,000 gold coming from the mail. So, yet again, I just want to give a few of my final thoughts and the reason I made this video. Please do not take this video as in trying to brag at all. There are tons of bigger goblins than me, there are tons of smaller goblins than me, and simply we're all at our different scale of gold making. And trust me, I have been in your shoes before if you are still trying to work on your first million, your first gold cap, etc. Also, a lot of people may look at my sales if you're on a fuller pop server and you have a ton more gold, that this does not look very impressive, and I completely understand that. However, personally, on my medium pop, this is, very, very good for me personally, and I'm very happy with it. Also, another big takeaway is that throughout this video, I have not touched, posting or canceling at all, and I've still been able to passively sell 37 items for a total of 82,000 gold. So, yet again, perks of a small server is that I can log off for the night and come back with 400,000 gold worth of items sold just because there's not a ton of competition. So there's always perks and downsides of different servers, but that's something to think about if you're trying to figure out what population is right for you. But overall, thank you guys so much for watching. I hope this gives you a little bit of ideas what's actually selling, how I make most of my gold, and all of that. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed, feel free to leave a like and possibly subscribe. And as always, have a good day.